Brought to you by Penguin.
The Barn. Written and read by Wright Thompson.
1. The Barn. Willie Reed awoke early Sunday morning to the sound of mockingbirds. Mosquitoes hovered and darted on the bayou behind his house. The cypress floorboards creaked beneath his feet as he stepped outside into a wall of humidity. Local kids like Willie had a name for the little riffles rising from the dirt: heat monkeys, animated like a living thing. A Mississippi Delta sunrise is feral and predatory. Even at 6 a.m., the air feels hot on the way in and stagnant on the way out. Daylight had broken an hour before Reed started his short walk to Patterson's Country Store, one of the many little places out in the country that sold rag bologna and hoop cheese. It was August 28, 1955. His grandfather wanted fresh meat to cook for breakfast. Willie was 18 years old, with a boyish face that made him look at least 3 or 4 years younger. Delicate lashes framed his almond-shaped eyes. His girlfriend, Ella May, lived a few miles south on Roy Clark's plantation. Late August meant they were a week into cotton picking season. In a few hours, after church ended, hundreds of men, women, and children would be pulling 9-foot sacks through the rows of cotton on the other side of the road. The past few growing seasons had been hard on everyone, but for the first time in 2 or 3 years, the price looked good enough for farmers to clear a little profit, depending, of course, on the whim of the landlord. Reed and his family worked for Clint Sheridan, one of 18 siblings who'd all left sharecropping behind to form a little empire around the Delta town of Drew. The Reeds usually made money for a year of work, and Clint also paid Willie $3 a day to help him out around the place. The people on the other side of the narrow dirt road never made a dime working for their landlord, Leslie Milam, who'd moved into the old Kimbrell place a few years back. Milam was the first member of his hardscrabble family to gain a toehold in the cloistered world of Delta landowners. Bald like his brother J.W., with sagging jowls and a double chin, Leslie was renting to own from the kind of family his had aspired for generations to become, the Ivy League-educated Sturdivants, whose empire included at least 12,000 acres and a sizable investment in a 3-year-old business named Holiday Inn. Leslie's thick brows rose in a perpetual look of surprise above his eyes, which were just a little too close together. The black folks who lived in the country between Ruleville and Drew had quickly come to hate Leslie. They had a word for men like him, a whispered, sarcastic curse. Leslie Milam was a striver. The year before, he'd told Alonzo and Amanda Bradley that they owed him $11, which he'd forgive if they stayed another season. They'd also learned to recognize the mean, cigar-chewing J.W. Milam, who came around from time to time. When old Dr. Kimbrell had farmed the place, the local sharecropper kids like Willie's Uncle James would play in the long, narrow cypress barn just off from the white-gabled house. Willie had been inside it once, too. The neighborhood children liked to chase the pigeons that flew through the cobwebbed rafters. Nobody chased pigeons once Leslie moved in. That Sunday morning, Willie turned left on the dirt road mirroring Doherty Bayou and its knobby, bald cypress trees. 5 million years ago, the range of these trees had stretched far to the north of Mississippi, but the Ice Age had reduced them to a narrow band around the Gulf of Mexico. Cypresses, sequoias, and redwoods are some of the oldest trees on the planet. Reed walked past the trees, down to the New Hope Missionary Baptist Church, which sat between the road and the bayou. Doherty Bayou was the name of the water that drained this part of the delta into the Sunflower River. Mostly the bayou was known locally for its connection to the Confederate cavalry general Nathan Bedford Forrest, whose post-war extracurriculars included a turn as the first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, which had originally been led by his former staff officers. The old white folks loved to talk about the Wizard of the Saddle and about how he led his cavalry along the Doherty Bayou as he moved quietly toward Yazoo City.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?